Hi, I'm Mike White, the creator, writer, and artist of Robot and Girl, a quarterly comic published by Keenspot Entertainment, the lovable folks that bring you the hit series Monsters by Mark Spears. I'd like to take this time to thank Patrick and the gang at Challengers, Comics and Conversation, and you, the listeners, for this opportunity to tell you about my comic, Robot and Girl. You can read the first issue for free and get more information at robotandgirlcomic.com. Or, if you like live streams, come hang out with me daily on Whatnot. Just search Mike White Robot on Whatnot's site or app, and you can find me streaming almost every afternoon and evening Pacific Standard Time as I draw custom commissions or work on pages for the next issue. I'm truly grateful and appreciative to all the readers of Robot and Girl, and hope that you too will check out my book today. We have plenty of ways for you to connect and join our wonderful community of kind, enthusiastic comic lovers, such as Instagram, Discord, and in the live chat on the stream. Issue 11 comes out in just a few weeks, and issue 12 features cover art by TMNT cover artist Jeffrey Edwards. Head over to robotandgirlcomic.com for more exciting updates, news, and ways to connect.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. Heisner approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. It gets hard and it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics in Chicago,
this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with
Patrick Brower.
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 Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
W. Dal Bush.
Dal Bush.
Dal Bush.
Dal.
Dal. Dal.
Dal.
W. Dal Bush.
I'm trying to video this as well as record audio to see if we can get some sort of extra content out of this podcast. So, Al, thanks for taking part in the experiment.
Happy to do so, Patrick.
As you see, I dusted off the old convention banner to throw.
I took out all my Transformers toys and put them on display so that people would have something to look at. Usually, those are empty shelves.
This is usually you just have like a giant whiteboard and you're going through like all these calculations and
a lot of equations. That's how I spend my time.
People can now see how much I gesture during these recordings, which is
you
a
get to
lot.
see my poor posture. It's great. It's the whole thing.
If I lean back further, I'm more on the screen, and they can see how little I actually dress up for this. Mm-hmm. Neither of us are in shirts and ties or vests or jackets or anything. So anyway, we're gonna probably go over a bunch of Comics Pro stuff, I think, from this episode.
I don't know if I'm recording, to be perfectly honest with you. I hate to do this. I'm looking at the screen, and your line has all these waveforms as you're talking.
Yeah.
Mine is a straight line.
Yours has all the waveforms on my side.
Okay, good. Then we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have the option of a transcription as well.
Okay.
I mean, it would be very much like a Challengers podcast a Contest of Challengers podcast to go through it and have none of the technology work.
Have one of the people on the recording not being recorded.
How is my resolution on your screen?
A little pixelated sometimes when you move around, but
yours is all blurry, but I'm up in the little corner over there, where I imagine you're in the corner on yours, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and you're a little blurry, so we'll see how that goes.
This could be a one-time thing. Who knows?
Also, I realized after the setting up of all of this, which includes a makeshift microphone stand I have, this is where my monitor is. It's directly in front of me. Here, I'm going to just change it a little bit so it gets more. I didn't bring my notes out.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Oh God!
What's going on? What is going on? What is this?
I have the.
Oh.
No. This is not.
Gentlemen, I'm not going to lie to you. Whenever any word of Managed Comics is spoken on the internet, I know about it. And I am here, Brian Garside, Managed Comics' own, to discuss some things with you.
Here's what's weird. We weren't actually talking about you, but I was thinking about Managed Comics.
I was also thinking about Managed Comics.
Like, boy, Managed Comics. And then, think his name and he appears.
I know, exactly.
I believe in Garside.
How are you doing, fellas?
Welcome, Brian Garside, to Contest of Challengers, which is a complete shock, which no one expected.
Well, there you go. Like, I'm not allowed in your country anymore, so I come on your podcast.
That is fair.
For that way, Brian.
Also, that's, I believe, our rule, right? You're not talking about anything political. You just mean that Challengers does not allow you back in the country.
Yeah, you've got like some sort of ban on me at the border, and every time they like see me and say you can't go.
That's not true, Brian. You were just in California, I believe it.
True story. Repping Challengers, wearing a Challengers t-shirt on Saturday.
Of which none of us are doing that right now.
Yeah, no,
you're not.
No.
Dal's not. I'm not. I've got a generic Marvel shirt. You got Bob's.
Bob's Comics, not even a real comic shop. It's fake.
A great t-shirt. It's just a great undershirt.
That's a handsome t-shirt, though, Dal.
I thought yours was Bosco's for a second.
No, although we are working with Bosco's right now.
Nice. That's like basically Canada.
Yeah, that's
as far as we're concerned.
David Harper told me that he's an honorary Canadian because he is so close.
Oh, well, he's also not allowed back in this country.
True story. So how you guys doing?
He's allowed America, just a different America. We're good, Brian. Thanks for I guess kidnapping our podcast. And I assume you have a list of grievances to go over note by note, line by line of
Let's hear it.
Contradicting things that we've said about you that you feel are erroneous.
Yeah. Well, in Canada, we actually have Festivus in February, so we're actually celebrating Festivus right now, and I have the Festivus poll in the other room.
Festivus.
Yeah,
I get
exactly. So, yeah,
and a ruler that you're menacingly slapping into your hand.
Got a lot of things to talk to you people. A metal ruler at that with a nice sharp edge.
Wow. All the metrics on it. Great.
Oh, yeah? Well, you think you're so tough? I got Captain Carrot to defend my back. And Dal has 1,000 Transformers.
Yeah, I'm actually doomed.
Do you want me to name them all? It's Wreck-Gar right there.
Yeah, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk to you guys about all of the slander that you've mentioned and give you the contact details of my lawyers who will be contacting you presently. And
to be clear, Brian, the things you're objecting to are the sanitized and sweetened versions of our complaints or our suffering to spare your feelings. So
I know. I hear them
if
all.
we're ripping Band-Aids off, we can rip a whole lot of Band-Aids off all at once.
I hear them. So
go ahead.
Let me be totally honest for a second.
Sure.
You guys have provided a ton of feedback. Yeah, not for long. You guys have provided a ton of feedback that I've taken to heart. And, a lot of times you see improvements because something that you indirectly mentioned, or I'll just reach out to one of you and go, we do that. We already do that, brother. So those things happen, right? But yeah, and it also provides me with ammunition when I talk to publishers and stuff and say, these are things that they fall down to us, but they're our responsibility, but they're not our fault, right? Our responsibility is to give you good data, but it's really hard to do it when yesterday, was it Blood Moon, is sharing a UPC code with another book?
Yeah, it was 2 different AWA books.
Yeah.
Had the exact same thing. And so what we found was we were receiving, we do a little prep work with our invoices the week before we receive them. We want to massage things to make sure that when we're ingesting the invoices into our Shopify instance through Managed Comics, that we don't have to do a lot of last minute, right at the line of scrimmage sort of changes to how things are going. We want to get that all worked out, and then we push it through, and then we can just receive stuff and move on, and everything's nice and convenient. Specifically because there's always weird things that happen. There's, for example, there's bundles for different DC books or Vault books that we don't receive as a bundle because we're not selling a bundle, we're selling individual copies. So we have to go through and delete the DCKO 25 copy bundles and then add the subsequent number of copies, 25, 50, whatever, to our main number so that we're receiving the correct number of A copies.
Yeah. Which is an easier thing to do when we're already getting a quantity of that book. But when that only comes in bundles is when it's more work.
Yeah. Sure. Which, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but again, one of the things is also finding out things that are not going correctly. Some stuff is an issue that maybe we'll talk about with Brian Garside on the podcast at some point.
We need to schedule him to be on an episode, Dal.
Where one of the big things I do with the invoices that we're pre-receiving is, I guess, to put it one way, is that we we're looking to make sure that the number of copies that we're getting in matches the number of copies we need at a minimum for our subscribers.
For sure.
So if we're getting in 5 copies of a variant cover from Marvel, I need to make sure that we need 5 or less copies of that cover for our subscribers. If we need more copies than we're getting in, I need to do a very quick reorder from Penguin Random House, which 99 times out of 100 will fill, and Lunar, which 99 times out of 100 will not fill. One of the things that we notice sometimes is that frequently we will get, and I know Brian brought up this thing as like, here's a problem that we've had to solve for publishers, and now I'm transitioning it into, here's a Managed Comics thing that sort of is weird, is we will see people needing copies for their subscriptions, like a B or C cover for a Marvel book, and we have one less copy than we need for subscribers. So we click on a little button on Managed Comics, helpfully provided, to say, okay, here are the people that Managed Comics wants to pull it for, and then here are the dates that they added it. And we'll sometimes find that one of the variant covers that we need for someone was added less than a week before the book came out. So it's like, okay, well, they definitely should not be getting this because this is after the order cutoff deadline. Yet for some reason, like at the last minute, Managed Comics is like, no, pull it for them. And we're like, no, we're not going to pull it for them. They didn't add it in time. So then we just unflag them, or we make sure that they're unflagged, and we move on.
When he says we do all this, basically he means he does all this, because a lot of this is over my head.
Yes. But to get back to the original point, now that I've aired my grievance, I snuck it in there. Brian was talking about his thing that he was angry about, and I'm like,
his one grievance.
Let me do this. We do often have weird data issues where the data that we're getting from the distributor is incorrect or invalid in some way, and then we have to reach out to Managed Comics and say, hi, Managed Comics isn't pulling this book for this person, even though we know they're down for it. Why is that happening? And the answer is generally because the series code we got from the publisher is bad, or the barcode is not what it used to be, or it's using a different item code, and Brian and his team have to scramble and figure that out in the 5 days before we actually receive the book into our system.
Or simply, for God's sakes, Dal. Which I believe is what I said to you yesterday. For God's sakes, Dal. And then to Patrick, I believe I said, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills every day.
And I said we would discuss your crazy pill addiction.
That's right. That's right. So I got some cool, exciting news that we haven't really released, other than, to a select few people at
Okay, wait.
Comics
So
Pro.
before you do that, let me back up just a little bit and make sure that everybody's on the same page for people listening and maybe even watching, if this works right. A little explanation of what Managed Comics is and how we use it and what we use it for.
Mm-hmm.
So
Managed.
Okay. No, I know.
No,
we were going to, then Brian's going to jump in, but Managed Comics we use for our subscription management system. Whenever anybody subscribes to a book or pre-orders a book from Challengers, they are using the Managed Comics program to be able to do that. And it's part of Shopify for us. During the pandemic, everybody knows we pivoted from Comic Suite to Shopify as our online store and put everything online, our inventory as well. But the main thing we needed was subscription management, and we did all this with Brian and with Managed Comics, and that is how anybody who is a subscriber for Challengers is using Managed Comics. And we have like 396 regular subscribers. That doesn't count people that just pre-order. That's just people that use a subscription that says, I want Batman every month or whatever it is. Because when our subscription email goes out, it only goes out to people that are active subscribers. So does that mean...
I think for active subscribers, I think as far as the last catalog email that I just sent out Wednesday, I think it was over 400. I think we're at like 430 or something.
It's funny you say that, because when I was editing the email, that same email, it said 396.
It must have gone up, Patrick.
That's where I got that number from.
Okay.
But anyway... does that include like Saga? People that get Saga regularly, because Saga is not an active pull at the moment because no issue has been offered in months. So like would those people get the email?
I think so, because we flag those people in Shopify as Managed Comics -active. And I think we consider anybody an active subscriber if they've ever subscribed in the past and are still an active customer in your database.
Okay. Okay, so it's a non-small number of people that get their books from us on a monthly or whatever basis, and they do
Recurring
that
basis.
using what's that? Recurring. Thank you.
Recurring basis.
I keep looking over that way because that's where Dal is on my screen, but Brian is right in front of me, and so that's what Managed Comics is, and Brian is the man who created it and who literally manages Managed Comics. And one of the best things about working with Managed Comics for us is the access we have to Brian to be able to, like, when we have an issue, we email a support ticket in, and it's usually Brian who gets back to us and promptly, and not only fixes it, but says, hey, this is why it's happening. But anyway, that's what Managed Comics is. And Managed Comics has to do so much work every single month to get the data that used to be from one source and bring it into the system. They now have to pull it from everywhere, and everybody does it in different formats, and get it massaged and be able to put into the subscription section of our website, which is the Managed Comics section of our website. And it's, on paper, it's an easy thing to describe in one sentence, like, oh, it's subscription management software. But in fact, it is like several Bibles worth of data of what they have to do. And it is Sisyphean, the task that you have undertaken, because it just keeps getting bigger. It's not that the boulder always rolls back down the hill. It's that as you are pushing the boulder up the hill keeps growing. Yeah. It is the data that went up a hill and is still going up a mountain.
And then they throw like obstacles in our way, and occasionally a landmine just for fun.
Sure.
Here's a landmine.
Buckets of lava are pouring down at the same time. Darby Allin is skateboarding down from the top of Everest.
Here, we're just going to kill off the primary distributor that you've based all of your data on. We're just going to do that. How's that? Is that going to cause any problems? No, I can't imagine.
And then nobody's data is going to in any way resemble the same
correct
that you used to get. Yeah.
So that's why we created the Comet standard. So Katie
and what does
Pride,
Comet stands for?
So it is a portmanteau of the word comic and metadata. Comet standard. So we
common metadata.
Yeah,
standard.
Comic metadata. Not
Batman Mobile.
So in 2023, Katie Pride, and I think even before that, created the comics data metadata working group. It was a really easy to remember group name, and
Clearly.
they started kind of meeting. And Django Boren of the Comics Place in Bellingham, Washington, and comic shop assistant, and I joined a meeting in 2023 along with a couple other vendors and retailers, and we kind of hashed out the beginning of what this group should look like. And it ended up being myself, Django, Katie Pride, who kind of leads the group, and then Jessica Wells of Penguin Random House. And what was interesting at the time was Penguin had just started delivering us data, and it was in an entirely different shape than what Diamonds was. And it was both a challenge and an opportunity. A challenge in that we'd never brought this kind of stuff in before, but an opportunity in that it was shaped more like book product stuff. So we had an opportunity to kind of inform them on what may be missing from that, but also a chance to look at how the big kids do it. This is how a mature ecosystem like books, who've been doing metadata longer than we have, does that.
One of the things about Penguin Random House's metadata that I find both completely sensible and also kind of infuriating is that so they have a writer field and an artist field.
Yep.
If the writer is also the artist, they only fill in the writer field.
Correct. Yeah.
That book does not have an artist, even though the artist is the same person.
Yeah.
Which is the case for almost every manga book that they distribute.
It's very
true. And it's the thing of we literally had to change around how we display creator data on our website, because what we would have would be we would have a writer field and artist field that we'd be using the metadata to populate, but none of the manga books had any artist data, so it would just have a writer and nothing else.
Yeah.
So when we refreshed our website, I'm like, creators, that's it.
Yeah.
So that way none of the manga stuff would look incredibly
really
weird.
smart.
It would just say the creator and the creator name instead of specifying what specific creator credit they had. And that's entirely because of Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
Period.
That sounds right. That's how the industry works. We just change things based off.
I get it. In their mind, it's the writer is the most important. The artist is a subsidiary thing. Like, if the writer is the artist, then we don't need to tell you the artist because we already told you the writer.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, but.
Yeah, I agree. That's why in the Comet Standard, we have like, I want to say it's the 25 required fields, 28 required fields for comics, 29 for if you include variant covers. And required is writer, artist, and cover artist. So we started establishing, like, first we had to establish what the data was that we were going to have in there. And then we had to establish kind of what the criteria for what that was. We described it as like the containers, and then the shape of the things that you're putting into those containers. And then finally, like, what containers do we absolutely have to describe a product? So that was like literally a year-long process of, there were untold meetings. Like we were having at least monthly and often like bi-weekly meetings. And this was a 96-person effort across 4 different groups. Yeah, it was massive. And like, so we had input.
Well, it has to be. There's so many publishers. There's so many distributors.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's so many retailers. There's so many different new
so many
programs.
Stakeholders.
Yep. Yeah. All 4 major distributors. So Penguin, Diamond, Lunar, and Universal all contributed. We had something ridiculous, like 30 different publishers, including Marvel and DC, on calls together. Like, it was amazing, right? And then we had
yet they never asked you, Dal. They never asked you.
You don't know that I wasn't on all those calls, Patrick. It's called an NDA, and I would tell you what that means, right? But that's part of the NDA, so I can't.
We had a lot of retailers as well, and so it was across 4 different groups. We did.
Wow, Brian just throwing salt into that wound. Oh, a lot of retailers, just not you guys.
Hey. It was an open call. Anybody could join. If you didn't join, that is on you, not on us.
I don't recall ever getting an open invitation.
Are you serious?
And I wouldn't go, so it's fine.
Brower. So
I would have been there from the beginning. Day one, Oos.
There were 4 different groups. There was a formats group, a standards group, a categories group, and a workflows group. And basically, Django and I kind of merged the formats and standards group after a couple of meetings. And so there ended up being 3. But yeah, it was a year-long process of kind of codifying all those rules. We launched a white paper in 2024. And then in 2025, we didn't really do anything. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and distributors were providing us comment standard data, but the industry exploded and we were all scrambling to keep up. So we didn't really have a chance to get a lot of stuff done. But behind the scenes, like, we were doing a ton of things to make our data conform to the Comet standard. And as distributors started providing us with Comet data, like PRH did, Lunar's starting to now, our data is starting to get better. But the big problem we have right now is that our database is not really great for Comet. It was built for the old Diamond way, and we've been just bolting stuff on. So in the last couple of months, we've rebuilt everything from scratch. And in doing that, we accidentally rebuilt all of Managed Comics behind the scenes. And we've accidentally rebuilt the entire front end, though that one was a little more deliberate. I've been planning on doing that for a while. And if you look at our roadmap, it's actually the project we should be working on right now. Which leads us to, as a retailer myself, Earth 519 Comics in London, Ontario, Canada.
Patrick, you're going to cut that out, right?
I'm just going to dub over Challengers on top of that.
You guys don't ship to Canada, so I think it's legit. I think I'm allowed to say it.
You're correct.
You ship to the U.S.?
No, I do not ship to the U.S. Just tariffs are such a pain right now that it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, as a retailer myself, I'm using the same tools you guys are using. When I became a retailer, you probably noticed a bunch of like quality of life things that changed rapidly because I can actually yell at the developers when I'm like, hey, why does this do this?
You threatened to leave for Comic Shop Assistant?
I did. No, I threatened. I threatened to leave for the other one, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how mad I am. I will go to the other one.
I don't think they're still making that, Brian.
Poor Mel.
R.I.P. Melchior.
Melchior Thompson.
So Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to do was really revamp the front end. And we brought in a lot of comic suite shops who don't have any sort of a front end. And the thing the industry lost was comic, what was it called? The diamond thing? Previews World. Previews World we lost, right?
Yeah.
I attempted to buy it, but it was going to be way too much money for what I was going to get. So I built comicpreviews.com. And that's being
I think
fed
I
with
just
our
got
new
a text about that. In fact.
Yeah. So we built this, and we're just about to launch kind of the next iteration of it. But if you think about everything that's below the logo as the managed comics world, eventually this will be kind of embedded into every website as well. And then it's also going to have its own kind of self-standing thing. So instead of looking for an item on GeekFetch, you'll look for it on Comic Previews, and it'll give you the same data that you would get.
Okay.
And just a lot more features. We're going to do subscriptions by issue number instead of by dates.
Thank you.
So your problem, Dal, that you mentioned where, this person just added it 2 weeks ago, they may have added it immediately after FOC. I don't know, but now we'll actually know that they shouldn't get it until issue 2 instead of issue 1.
So, I mean, not to jump ahead, or I don't know if you have a list of things you want to get through, but I'm going to be shouting things out as you say things as I can go, wait. One of the questions that we get most often from new people using Managed Comics that we have the hardest time answering is, it's a 2-part question. And it's, the first part is, when does my subscription start? And the second part is, when does my subscription end?
Correct.
And you and I have had conversations about this in the years we've been using Managed Comics. And I generally think I understand it. And yet there's frequently times where I will tell people, I will give them an answer which I feel confident in. And then that answer turns out not to be the case. There was a guy who, I think a week or so ago on FOC, Aquaman was switching over to Emperor Aquaman. And he's like, I want it on my subscription. I don't want to continue it when it has the title change. And we'd said, okay, like we see on your list, it says final pull. So you won't be getting it. But then, and he had done this before FOC. Like the Friday or Saturday before FOC. And then Monday I'm doing the FOCs and I'm looking at Emperor Aquaman and I'm like, let me check something. And I click on the number of subscribers and his name is on there as a upcoming subscriber.
Yeah.
And that's a thing where it's just like, this is specifically a customer that we've had to manually take things off his list because we've told him, hey, don't worry about it. It's not going to pull for you. And then it pulls for him. And then he's like, I wanted to drop this. I don't want this. And it's like, we understand, we'll take it off your list. And this is it's something that Patrick sometimes gets a little frustrated with because he's like, we shouldn't have to do this for them. He should be able to do it for himself. And my counter argument is he's only asking this because we've told him to do it himself and it ends up not happening.
Yeah.
So like, hopefully in a way where issue numbers are happening rather than like order dates or whatever, it's a lot more transparent for both the customer and for the store as to when these things are going to be cycling on and off.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that there's just a line in the code that's not being obeyed. Like that should say, if FOC is not present, I think that part's missing. So,
yeah. Or like, I don't know if this is the case. It always feels like there's a situation where like it happens, but it happens way closer to the release of the book. Like it's telling us at FOC, hey, this guy needs it ordered for him. But then when we go to receive it, it'll have dropped off his list, which is just bad in a different way because that means we ordered an extra copy we don't need because he's not down for it anymore.
And what also happens sometimes is FOC dates shift, but we will lock that FOC date in at the earlier period. And so giving them the ability to actually say, no, I don't want this as of issue 6, right?
Yeah.
I have a customer at my shop that wants to get the death spiral of Amazing Spider-Man, but nothing else. So they want to start at 23 and end at 27. So in theory, right now, I have to start them at a specific date and end them at a specific date. And I just said, you know what, just subscribe now and I'll just not pull it for you on the
that was one of the things about Comic Suite that was the way that Diamond would do it was always pretty transparent for us because you could just go in at a subscription level and specifically say, okay, start at 23 and at 26. And you'd see that on the screen and you'd know it. And then the way that Diamond would work their catalog is every time you'd import a new previous catalog, it would then go through and add to their account individual issues based on that. So you'd still have like a subscription screen where it would say like they're down for these titles, but then there'd be a little box saying, okay, but here are the actual issues they're getting because of those subscriptions, that those subscriptions have triggered in the database to add to their account. So you'd be able to go, not only, yes, I know you're down for Superman, but I can look and see that you're down specifically for Superman 32, 33, 34. And that was very easy for us. And if we ever needed to do a granular thing of them saying, yeah, I want my subscription, but can you not pull 33 for me? We could just go into the little box and go, okay, delete this one issue. And then they'll get 31, 32, 34, 35, and so on.
Yeah.
Like, that was all really nice. And that was a quality of life thing that we kind of had to adjust to with Managed Comics, which has many qualities that we adore. But there's a couple of things where it's like, I don't know why it's doing this, and I can't give you a good answer as to why it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's all fair. And like, I never never used Comic Suite, and the few times that people showed me Comic Suite, I didn't understand Comic Suite. So some of that is just a limitation of my own brain. You know, I don't understand why you would do things this way. We also put a big emphasis, and like our new marketing is all around simplicity. Like, sure, we could make things super complicated and add another 75 buttons and add, you know, a green button next to a blue button next to a red button. But what if we just have one button that has 3 states, you know, I think simplicity actually is a big advantage of ours. And that means we don't always have the bells.
And Comic Suite, like, certainly, like, to their detriment, was built around a very specific idea of there is a new catalog every month.
Right.
And that catalog has everything in it. And that catalog is the only thing you order from, which means a lot of their logic was like, that's great as long as there's only one catalog. Like, they even pre-COVID were having problems with Comic Suite where it's like, all right, what if this gets announced at FOC? What if this gets announced on a new to order? It's like, okay, well, that's really hard to deal with. Like, they had to code in different things and some stuff didn't work the same. And then once you start talking about different distributors, none of it makes any sense. None of it worked. Like, we immediately got away from Comic Suite because we had to start dealing with things like Lunar, and it's like, none of this works. It just it fundamentally does not work. And so, I certainly like Managed Comics. It has its quirks. Every platform does, but at the end of the day, and this is something that we probably don't say enough. Managed Comics has been a huge boon to our business. The ability for someone to say, you know, hey, I'm interested in subscribing, and we go, here's a bookmark with a QR code on it. Follow this here. Please read our subscription service FAQ that we wrote up that steps you through a lot of these things and explains a lot of terminology. And then that night, I can go on to our admin side and see, oh, this person's a new subscriber. Oh, they added these 3 subscriptions. Oh, they added these 4 pre-orders. And it all works. It works great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite part too, is just like the kind of seamless, like whenever we add a catalog, and I haven't even posted the featured image yet for the catalog this month, because I keep forgetting, because I've been just so swamped ever since I got back from California.
Sure.
But even now, like every day I go in and I see like a whole bunch of people have added stuff from a catalog that I haven't even solicited yet, which is great.
I don't know how they do it, Brian, because this is the thing. Like, I'll give you a little behind the scenes of how we deal with it. Once the data is in Managed Comics, and it's usually around the time that we get, you know, the digital catalogs from publishers and then the print catalogs, that's when we'll know that, like, okay, now things are going to be in Managed Comics. We construct an email that's basically saying, like, hey, the catalogs are up. Here's some spotlight books that we want you to check out using solicit data and cover images and links to specific order pages. But then we'll also do a thing where we'll put in, like, here's the link to the catalog. And even if you don't do the changeover of the cover image, if I just change the date from the 1st of last month to the 1st of the next month, the page is there. So I'm like, oh, perfect, we're good. Like, I don't need Brian to do the landing page. He already has a different landing page that I can just link to.
Yeah, that is how it's supposed to work. So it does kind of generate those as soon as the first piece of data comes up. And so some of those catalog pages will exist months in advance because we have pre-solicited information for, you know, up to June in some cases. So they will exist with just 1 or 2 pages. But yeah, I think it's fascinating. There's a small window. So there's a couple of like automated tasks that happen behind the scenes. And one of them is like, we don't have a dedicated field right now for ratio variance from some distributors, but not from all. So we have a process that goes behind the scenes and literally reads the description and says this is a 1 in 20. And so it goes, oh, that's a ratio of 20, right? If it's a if it was a 2 in 20, it would be a ratio of 10. So it does math and does that. We have a window of maybe 30 minutes when that is happening. And the number of stores that tell me ratio variants weren't caught for Amazing Spider-Man cover X. And you're like, I look at the data's fine. I look at it, they did it exactly 10 minutes after we uploaded the file. Like, how? How is that even possible?
I don't know how people do it. Like, we'll send out our new catalog emails on a Wednesday. On Sunday and Monday, I will see people start adding all of their DC open order covers and stuff. And sometimes, if they're early enough, we'll see like, oh, someone reserved the 1 in 100 variant at cover price. I'm like, no, decline. We don't do those.
And occasionally that is just like the data hasn't matriculated properly, or it's it's bad. But it's
people are pretty hot on the trigger there.
Yeah, there was something I reached out to you yesterday for where a subscriber, actually employee and subscriber, had caught that the link for a specific IDW book was then going to the previous iteration. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even find the book on the back end to add it for her by searching the title. And Dal's like, no, just search IDW Classics. And I bet it comes up then. And it did. And, it's all the weird little data quirks. And of course, those things are found immediately when it is a thing that you would never find. You would never even think to have to comb through that to make sure that the data for each thing is accurate, especially with a graphic novel collection like that. But they find it. They find the broken things right away, and you don't even know how they're looking for it.
God bless them. God bless them. That just means we've got really super engaged like customers who want stuff, right?
Publishers who are terrible at their data for their smallish outputs or what have you.
Why won't Marvel put the cover artist name on the cover of their goddamn books?
I know.
It's so easy. It can't be that hard.
This is an interesting challenge that we realized fairly early on. Like during
challengers.
COVID, this is an interesting challengers comics and conversation that we noticed early on. One of the main reasons that Comet exists is because there is a massive lack of institutional knowledge in the comics industry. If you think about the last 10 years, like we've seen please don't. We've seen almost 100% turnover in the industry, right? And I don't just mean like, all these people retired. I mean, people went from Boom to Square Enix or from Skybound to, wherever. Like, so these organizations that have people like Vince from DC, who was like, Vince, if you ever talk to Vince, I think his last name is
Leterrier.
Vince,
we have talked to Vince.
Vince drinks and he knows things. I don't think he drinks though, but he knows things. He knows everything about how anything was ever structured at DC. And when he was let go in 2020, that information went with Vince. In fact, an access database of information went with Vince. Like it's gone. Nobody can even open it in the world. Like, nobody has a computer that still runs Access in 2026. So a lot of this institutional knowledge goes with these people when they leave, and it doesn't get rematriculated throughout the organization. So one of our goals is with Comet is to like start to reintroduce that information, because I don't believe anybody maliciously does this stuff. I think it's a lot of just like, we just didn't even know that issue sequence number was a thing, right? Like, why would we include that? And like backing up even more, Diamond used to do so much of this stuff for these people, right? So they never even knew they had to know this. So yeah, it's been probably the most interesting challenge in my, like, I don't know, 30 some odd year career or whatever it is. We're not going to say numbers.
Your voice got so low.
Yeah, we're not
as if you were bellied up to the bar.
I have no idea.
Just talking about all the mistakes you've made,
been far too
all the women from your past, and all the cars you've driven into the ground. But
Patrick, there's only ever been one woman, my wife. I don't know what you're talking about, and I bristle under the fact that you would even.
I thought you were going to say that one woman was comics.
Dal, I'm not allowed to say that either, because I don't.
Can
want
you
to be
say
Patrick's...
the phrase "I love you, but I've chosen comics"?
I think I
definitely not.
I think I can. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's been a really interesting challenge, and I think we've done like some really good work, but it's not done right. Like this is a thing that's going to take a long time, but we're getting closer. So our new system like addresses a lot of this stuff. I have a bunch of like last week I really just sat down with publishers and distributors and said, when we have bad data, we're going to flip it back to the publisher, show you what's wrong, have you fix it, and then we'll send it to the distributors. And so we're going to start building that institutional knowledge throughout the industry. And even though this is my validator, by me sending it back to the distributor, I'm fixing a problem for the entire industry when we fix it for one, like our shops. So yeah.
One of the things I've been doing lately is I have a sheet of the way each individual publisher has their data in their invoice files, you know, and luckily everybody who uses Lunar, it's all the same way, the same breakdown. But anyone that uses Penguin Random House, they can do whatever they want. So Marvel's data is different than Dark Horse's data, which is different than IDW's, which is all very different than Boom's. But I have examples. I have like, here's how Marvel does it. Here's how, and I have a full sheet. And I also explain like how we edit it down to be seen on our new release list and our emails, because as much as I love inkers, I don't think an inker's name or a colorist's name doesn't belong in the title file on an invoice. So I've been sending this as I talk to different representatives of different companies behind the scenes. I send them each the same sheet saying, this is how your data looks compared to everybody else's. Look at how confusing this is for everybody. Yeah. And none of them know this, because why would the people at Skybound know how Boom sort has their data broken down? And like just how people use CVR for cover for cover, or variant for cover, or nothing but a letter and then the word main. Yeah. Like there's too many differences that nobody understands, that everybody is just picking things out of a hat.
And that's actually where Comic comes in as well. One of our early decisions was to focus on atomic data. Now, atomic data is like taking every piece of data and breaking it down to the very, very smallest fraction that it can be. So, for example, a cover is really just a main title, a series title, plus an issue number, plus a cover designation, plus a variant description, because it might be like I don't know,
cardstock cover or glow in the dark cover,
or like
foil
DCKO month, thing, and then cover artist, and maybe another thing. So if we have all those individual elements, you guys can rebuild those however you want, right? Like you don't have to rewrite anything. You can build it very, very cleanly. However, and I'm very, very adamant about this, the publishers also should have the option of creating their own iteration of that. And that is like their bias, the way they want it to be displayed in the world. Doesn't mean you have to obey that, but it does mean that like it has to exist, because editorial matters, right? If I'm making those decisions for them and saying that this will always be the Expanse dash instead of colon, a Little Death #1 cover A, that might not be the way that they want to portray it, but it should not preclude you from changing it on your site. It should just the editorial way is just the way that we will display it.
Also, colons and dashes don't belong in titles. I'll give you apostrophes.
I think we could. Yeah, I think people could fight for all that stuff. Yeah, and I will. My thing is like I don't get into religion or syntax arguments, because everybody's got their own gods and syntaxes.
Oh, their own gods and grammar.
That's right. That was way better. That was way better than my line. I love Penn and Teller, and there was an episode on recycling, and he said everybody got their own juju, and a juju is like a voodoo kind of like superstition or belief, and I love that. I use that all the time. Everybody got their own jujus.
So, Brian, are there specific things that we have talked about that we have erroneously portrayed Managed Comics as doing that doesn't do, or functionality that we misrepresent, or I mean,
Errors
you're
are contest of challengers. I won't hear it.
No,
the most well-researched podcast in the history of well-researched podcasts.
I love to give you guys grief, and my favorite thing is when I can text Dal and go, "We already do that, Dal. Here's how we do that." But often it's just like, okay, that's a good note, and I'll go back and look at it, or like, wow, we didn't surface that enough that it's easy enough to find. Like sometimes there are things that we have to go back and kind of revisit. But honestly, any promotion is good promotion as far as I'm concerned.
And we talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
We talk about Managed Comics so much because A, we love using it and we love being a part of it, and B, how responsive you are, but also C, we think that this is, the future of comic book retail for not just us, but for the majority of the industry, the people that want to be forward thinking and ahead of the curve and as technologically forward and advanced as possible. That's what we feel you bring to the table. And, it's no secret that we've tried different things over the years. And it's like we've done 2 different rewards programs in the past and I wound up abandoning both of them because they don't work. And there's no shame in starting something and saying this isn't for us and not doing it. And we have a litany of programs and functionality that Challengers did or used to do that has ran its course. We had a graphic novel rental service that's gone. We had a weekly art blog that's gone. We had things that we do that the all ages kids read along, that ran its course. Things run its course, but we're always looking to do what we think is best for our shop, our community, and comics retail in general. And right now, that's you.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
So if we talk about it a lot on the podcast, it's because, we enact with it every single day. And it is a major component of what we offer to our customer base. And if something isn't working the way they need it to or we need it to, then it gets frustrated and we bring it up. If we didn't really care about any of this, we just never talk about it.
I agree. I mean, one of our biggest challenges is always just the Shopify of it all, right? But at the same time, like Shopify is so good. Like from a front end perspective and from like a website, like if you're using Shopify, your site will rank higher than any other site in your area, guaranteed. There's just the way that they do things. There are some trade-offs, right? Like we make a lot of compromises because of the way that we work with Shopify, but it's worth it. And like, as much as I sometimes loathe the point of sale system, it's also super simple. Like if you have to train a new person, what does it take? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah. They pick it up really quickly.
Yeah. I have a 17-year-old son that works with me. We were at a convention. I pop up the point of sale, walked him through it within 5 minutes.
You're just on devices. You're just on mobile.
Yeah. Mine's on iPad. Yeah. And I
guess they're all on iPad technically.
Yeah. Within 5 minutes, he's just like ringing up people. And like, I didn't have to sit there and go, okay, now if you want to do a transaction, you then have to calculate the taxes by play. No, you scan it. You say, would you like to pay by cash or credit? They tell you, you give them the machine. The machine just works. Like it all works. Yes, it's really good. But yeah, there are some compromises we've made. But things are just going to get better. Like I'm so excited about the next few months, especially.
That's great. One of the things we don't like about Shopify is their constant need for change, their seasonal updates, we took this button here and moved it over here. Isn't that better? Why? Why is it you just did it to do it? It's not.
I know.
They're never asking their user base. Why would they? They clearly don't understand businesses that have thousands of new SKUs per month, like the comics industry does. They really love boutiques.
I will tell you, Patrick.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I have had conversations with at least a dozen different point of sale systems. And when I tell them that the average number of SKUs that a comic store brings in a week is 300, they just look at me like I have 4 heads, right? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, seriously, they're bringing in. So you're saying you're bringing in like 10,000 new SKUs a year? Yeah, I mean, probably not quite that high, but it's a lot.
But a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But like,
God forbid you do SKUs on back issues.
A drugstore has 10,000 SKUs, period, lifetime, end of story, right? And we're doing that in a year. Like, it is kind of astronomical. And yeah, so it's tough. We have a very, and I hate using very and unique together, but it is like, it's double unique industry in that the stuff we do, nobody else does. You know, nobody else
wants
has
to
17 covers of a single product. Can you imagine if an action figure had what Dynamite's 26? Well, they go to double X's. So, 42 variants, and they would put one UPC code on it and they would call it a chase figure, and you just figure it out, right? But we have data for all that stuff. So yeah, it's a unique industry. It's fun though. Like, it's cool. I get to play with comic books every day. How awesome is that?
It's pretty great.
Yeah,
it's pretty great. Let's talk about your store, because you started in the industry with a store.
Yep.
And then got out of that, was doing data for all different other stuff, came back to comics. You have a store again. What is that like? What is you're mainly a mail order and convention guy, is that accurate?
Mostly, yeah. I like, Dal, when you do the thing where you say let me back up a little, how do you do that? Because that's my favorite part. You say let me back up. No, let me back up a little more.
That's Dave. That's Dave from Happy Endings.
That is specifically a Happy Endings reference.
I love that line. I love that. So yeah, let me back
that
up.
Is, Patrick and I were huge fans of the sitcom, American sitcom, Happy Endings, and that was the thing that they would tell stories, and he would constantly say, let me go back, and he would go back way too far, and it's just
well, I'm about to do that. I'm going to go all the way back. If I go all the way back,
first the Earth cooled, and then there were dinosaurs. Let me go. A meteor came. Wait, let me back up. So the Big Bang happened. Let me back up. Space.
Two atoms.
So 1988, I worked at Bid Time Return, which was a comic store here in London, Ontario. It's a Shakespeare quote. Would that I could turn back time. Would that I could bid time return.
It's also a Cher song, but go on.
There you go. All right. That's Turn Back Time. It's a different song. Anyway, so I worked there. I worked at a comic shop called Heroes. Then I went to school for television production. Then I did a whole career of television. It became an internet career where I worked in the internet in 1996 when the internet was just beginning. Ended up doing some IT. In 2005, I'm by the way, I'm collecting comics this whole time. Like, I'm going to Bob's Comic Shop in Toronto, Canada. 2005, I moved to a town called Ajax. It's about 10 minutes outside of Toronto. And when I was there, I was tired of driving literally 40 minutes downtown to get my comics. So I tried to find a shop. Nobody would give me subs. And I had, I was buying probably 20 to 30 comics a month, maybe more. And a lot of it was Dark Horse and Antarctic Press and just weird indie stuff that you were only going to order one copy of it. And they'd be like, well, if you start buying off our shelves for a couple months, maybe we'll see. And I was like, you're not going to have most of the stuff. So I started buying online, and there were no Canadian online stores. So I ended up buying from a couple of US stores. I think Midtown was one of them. And one week I got $65 worth of comics, and my duty bill was $72.
Oh.
And I was just like, I'm never doing this again. So I contacted my buddy who had left. It was actually called Comics and More, not Bob's Comics. He had left there. And I said, hey, why don't we start a thing? And he was like, oh, but I don't know anything about the internet. I'm like, surprise, I do. So we started an online store, and literally just friends. We had 10 friends between the two of us who we could order enough that we could get the thing going. Built a subscription platform off of an
we were just talking about buying clubs last week.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
There's a buying club, everybody.
So our intent was always to be an online comic store for all of the people like me who were 40 minutes away from a store. And Canada is a massively huge geographical region with a handful of comic stores. So over the course of the next several years, we ended up getting up to I think 160 or so subscribers.
Oh,
and like all like BC all the way to Nova Scotia. Like we're literally coast to coast.
I don't know where any of those things are. Put it in American terms.
Alaska to like
BC is before Christ, so it's over 2,000 years ago.
So one
BC?
coast to the other. And I co-owned it with him till 2011 when I moved to London, which is 2 hours away from Toronto. And then I like sold my share to him, and I was working in IT and stuff at the time. So that was kind of it. I kept on doing marketing things for him. But in 2015, I left my cushy IT job, started North IQ marketing, and then Managed Comics was like my side hustle. It was just like, that's just what I'm going to do. And then
that's one of the things that we think was one of the most altruistic parts of the beginnings of Managed Comics, is because a lot of these other services were started by people who were in the industry and had stores like, we need this. And you're like, no, I'm outside the industry, but I still know this is a good thing for the people in the industry. And I think I can make their lives better. And sure, it's with the perspective of having been in there, but that was always a thing like, oh, this isn't like, he's not rushing to do this because he needs it. He's doing it because we need it.
Yeah. Specifically, like at that point, I was still maintaining all the data for Pete for All New Comics, but I realized at some point that I could maintain the data for 1,000 stores as easily as I could for one. So that was just like, okay, I'll build this thing. And if one store other than Pete uses it, then I make twice as much money as I'm making right now, which was like, I think I was making like $60 a month from him. So, hey, I'll make 120 instead of, oh man, all the Skittles I can buy with $120. So
are Canadian Skittles different flavors, like
no,
maple syrup?
They're duller because we don't have the same food coloring.
Or I'm out after two. Tim Hortons coffee.
What were your two maple and what was the other one?
Back bacon. We do have a maple syrup Skittle, of course. Everyone does. Yeah, there's the Moose Skittle. During the pandemic, that's when like we started looking at Shopify, and it was literally, I was talking to, so the first thing I did was Zoom calls, and we were just talking to stores, and we were like, they all said we need to be able to sell things online. So we did like some fast things in Managed Comics so that they could sell their subscriptions every week online. But then we realized, oh man, like we need to look at other things, and that's where Shopify came in. So that's just the longest way ever of saying that I had a comic store. And then in 2025, my partner, Peter, decided he wanted to retire. And I was like, he had about 130, 140 customers at the time. And I was like, what are you going to do with those guys? And he was like, well, I'll let them know that we're going to wind things down. And I was like, what if I just bought it from you? I had a 16-year-old son at the time. I mean, I still do, but he's 17 now. Like he didn't die or anything.
No, you have a different one. It's 17-year-old son.
Yeah, exactly.
You traded up.
And we started Earth 519. And so if you notice the number, I was born in 1971. I started in a comic store in 1988. I was 16 when I started. He was 16 when he started. How cool is that? How cool is that symmetry? Isn't that awesome?
I mean, if you have to wait until you're 16 years old to start working in comics, I mean, okay, Grandpa.
You were like 14, were you?
No, he was 12.
12.
To be fair,
I didn't own one before.
That's fair. I was also 16. My brother had a very random part-time job on like Sundays, working at a shop, and I would just go in with him and hang out all day.
That's
so I
awesome.
consider that my first, or I'd like, excuse me, go upstairs and put a board across two sawhorses and work on homework or illustration projects.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
And Dal is right now is picturing exactly in his head where I was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun because we've built this thing together. It's all online, but we have been looking for brick and mortar. It's just that's a huge
commitment.
Time.
We need you at your computer 24 hours a day.
I know. That's what. And my wife also says that, and I don't understand this, but apparently, like she likes me and she'd like to see me occasionally.
That's weird. We hear the opposite from most people's wives. Like, oh
that's
no,
what I always thought.
Have this hobby outside of the house. Go.
Yeah. No, apparently I'm kind of fun and she likes to be around me, and that's why she married me. I don't get it. I think,
All right.
I think that's
I don't
ridiculous.
see it.
To,
but okay.
to each their
right?
own.
Right? Yeah. Are you sure me? Like, she's a wonderful person with but she obviously has no taste in people. God.
Insurmountable patience, I assume.
Oh my
What a
God.
flaw.
The most patient human being on the planet. Yeah, so it's going really well. We're having fun. We're actually doing the Toronto Comic Con in like 3 weeks, which will be a 4-day con.
Dal, do you want to drive up for that?
I don't.
You guys will like
tried.
this. You guys will like this. So I chafe against uniforms, but I also want us to present a like professional appearance. So at some point,
especially after having just been at Comics Pro,
Right.
where every time I would, because I was a virtual attendee, and whenever it was like, hey, here we are in the giant hall, it's like, I can't tell the professionals in that industry.
Correct. Yeah. So our thing is so that we are definitely, everybody wears a comic inspired t-shirt now. So you never know who's an employee and who's just like, on the walking in. So we wear aprons, like green, really nice aprons with like leather straps, and they've got all kinds of pockets for pens, guys. And like, I think, our phones go into a pocket and don't come out until you're, on break. Oh, it's wonderful. So yeah, and they've got little Earth 519 logos on them. So that was, it was a little bit inspired by you guys. Like the fact that when I went into your shops, like you could tell who worked there and you could tell who was a customer.
We also have name badges that we wear.
True.
Which came out of Diamond Secret Shopper feedback. We almost went with lanyards.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But I think that what was lanyards? That was lanyards my idea, and name badges was your idea.
I think so. Your objection to name tags was like you didn't want to punch holes in your shirt with a pin, and I'm like, I think we can get like magnet ones.
Yeah.
And now you can see
ones is where you went. Okay, yes.
All my vests, you can see 2 little worn out dot spot spaces, especially in like an all black vest. They're discolored where the magnets go.
That's a great idea, though. I'll glue a magnet to the back of the apron, and then we'll be able to have interchangeable name tags on the front. That's great. There you go.
The magnets.
The magnet. There's the thing on the back that just pops apart. You don't glue anything.
Yeah, I know, but if I glue them, then they'll never go away because
Don't
we'll
do
lose
that.
them. We'll lose them.
Well, doing it with aprons, the way the magnet backing is, the strap of the apron will run right through it, so you don't even have to have it on the apron. It'll be right above it where the strap connects.
That's perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, sold. You did it. You solved my problem.
I will send you our name tag source, but I don't know if it's not worth it for you because of international shipping.
I may have to come to Chicago just to.
We'll get them delivered and we'll just give them to you.
That's the worst part. So this convention ends literally like the week before C2E2, and I had planned on going to C2E2, but like we're gonna be rebuilding the entire store when we get done this convention.
And also, it's in America, and you're hedging your bets, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to limit my exposure to America for a little while.
Sure.
But you guys got this. I feel like the midterms is you'll figure it out. We've figured that every other time and been incredibly crestfallen for like multiple elections. But this one, I feel like you got.
Yeah.
You got it.
We hope.
They call that the gambler's fallacy.
I thought we called comics retail.
Thank you so much for. Well, you didn't really have a choice. I just
you just took over our feed. You are way more technological savvy than we are. We should have never told you that we were trying our first video recording.
Well, yeah,
I wondered why you were asking for IP addresses earlier today.
The feed.
And
so weird.
Are you still at the same residence? Just let me take a look. Oh, there's the IP addresses of that area. Okay.
Do I hear a drone outside?
Okay. And
Dal, why did you ask me to turn off the VPN? I didn't understand.
And Dal, I understand that you recently bought some Transformers. Let me just. Okay. All right. I think I know where those are going. All right.
My social security number. What's happening?
No, it was fun, guys. And,
are there any other topics, Dal, you want while we have Brian? Or nothing you want to call him on in public?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that needs to be like publicly aired. No, there's things that I could just ask Brian about, or tell Brian about, or have a discussion about. It's fine.
All right, Brian, tell us one comic you're reading that you love right now.
Oh man, why would you do that?
Well, I mean, just one. It
obviously-
doesn't have to be the best. Just one. Just
Turn
name
around and
one.
look at your bookshelves.
Obviously,
Really?
Absolute Batman is like the best comic on the shelves right now. And
Incorrect.
I would have
Okay.
said that it was Absolute Martian Manhunter or Absolute Wonder Woman, but
It's
Absolute
Wonder Woman.
Batman is like just my favorite thing. Like the way that they have slow rolled the rogues is
Yeah.
just so spectacular.
Well, they slow roll and then bam, here's 5, and then
Well, so
slow.
that's the
Okay,
thing.
here's 8 more.
but
Like
just,
I was talking to a customer about it, and what I really respect is that. So they do this issue where they basically go, okay, well, here's Penguin and Riddler and Two-Face and Killer Croc and like 5 different characters, and they're giving them all at once, and it feels like that Mark Miller Ultimate X-Men thing where it's like, oh no, you shot your wad. Like this is way too many characters.
Yeah.
You could have made this a bigger story, but instead you just went, nah. But then they immediately do this like Poison Ivy story that's like, oh, there's like 6 more things you could talk about now that I had not thought you could do that I'm now super interested in.
Absolutely.
While still building up all this other stuff in the background to get it to a level where you can interact with it as a story.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how they managed to like blow off this big idea, but then introduce more ideas and walk back the original thing. So it's like, oh no, there's still more story. You could do another 2 years of this book.
Oh yeah. Adventure Time. Love that book.
Yeah.
Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Oh man. The first volume, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, it was like the first season of Dexter where I didn't really think of Dexter as the bad guy. Right.
Yeah.
And it was the second season of Dexter that I started feeling just like profoundly guilty whenever I'd watch it. And there's an issue of Rites of Spring where I'm not going to spoil anything, but like Samantha's family is in that issue. And I was like, oh, you're a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a terrible bad guy. Oh, and I hated
issue
her.
5, the penultimate issue of
That's
Rise
the
of Spring.
Yeah.
It has stuff in it that like I don't know if it's jumped the shark or not yet, but like it definitely has stuff where I'm like, oh, this is a crazy book.
Yeah.
This is a crazy book full of crazy
I know
people.
exactly what you're talking about.
exactly.
I know the scene specifically in the hardware store that you're like,
I'm just
what?
like,
What is
happening?
And how do you
What
get
is
out
book?
of this? Like,
Yeah.
there's no,
Yeah.
like, that is a massive change for the whole world that
And
you
then there's
can't
still a
unwind.
3rd volume coming.
I know.
Did you ever
also-
watch The Shield?
I never did. did.
The Shield is such a weird show because it's it's about the Michael Chiklis character, but he's a dirty cop.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
bad. Like, why are we rooting for him for like this
Yeah,
whole time?
like,
Like, when is he gonna get caught?
Yeah, not to spoil it, but like the end of the first episode of the show is you're with this point of view character who's undercover, who's trying to investigate what Michael Chiklis is doing. At the end of the first episode, Michael Chiklis and his crew corner the guy and are like, yeah, we know that you're informing on us. We know you're here for like, to get us
Internal
caught.
affairs.
And they kill him. And so the rest of the series is like, there's this sort of Damocles hanging over the entire squad of like, you killed this cop and covered it up.
Yeah.
And if anyone ever finds out, you're all going to jail above and beyond every other horrible criminal thing you've ever done. And so you're spending this series like, how are they going to get away with this? And it's like, wait, I don't want them to get away
Yeah,
with
they
this.
shouldn't get away with it.
Yeah. They murdered a guy like who was doing the right
was it
thing.
4 seasons, 5 seasons?
I think it was like 6 or 7. It ran
Yeah,
for a
it
while.
ran for a while. It's like, man, like, why are we following this guy? Although it did give us Walton Goggins, so there's that.
That's amazing. I'll give you one more, and like I swear I read comics that are further down the alphabet than ABC, but Assorted Crisis Events.
Yeah.
2 reasons. Like Dennis Camp came out of nowhere, right? Like 2 years ago, we didn't know who the guy was, and suddenly he's doing. I mean, he did 20th Century Men, but honestly, who read that? And if you did
weren't
try
paying
and read it,
attention. You weren't paying attention to the guy who wrote Children of the Vault, really?
Oh, that was a great, but it was, and it was great. Like I bought a ton
It's
of
a
those
lot.
and went through them. It's a really good book, but he was kind of like, I wouldn't even say he was a C tier. He was just like a dude who was doing really good work. And then he gets the Ultimates and you're like, why is he getting the Ultimates? And now you're like, oh, I get it. But Assorted Crisis Events is simultaneously my favorite comic and the comic I most dread reading every month.
It's so sad.
That fifth issue about the person that goes forward and backward in time is like, right? Like,
No.
don't give me a dementia allegory, Dennis Camp. You're a terrible human being. You know what that's going to do. Yeah.
I am not a fan of most dementia related comics or allegories.
Same.
I used to love Jason, the Norwegian artist Jason, and all his stuff was real fun. Werewolves of Montpellier was such a great book. Let's Kill Hitler. No, that was a Doctor Who episode. What was it called? West Bank Gang. No, what was the Hitler one, Dal?
Wasn't it just I Killed Adolf Hitler?
I Killed Adolf Hitler. Yeah, I was confusing a Stephen Moffat Doctor Who episode title with that same thing. But then he did an Alzheimer's short in one of his books, and it was so, and it may have been drawn from his personal experiences, but it was so far away from mine and so, I don't want to say misrepresentative,
right?
But that's what it felt like. I'm like, I can't do this. This is too real and wrong.
Yeah.
From my experiences.
That's the cool thing about assorted crisis events is it's not like none of it is the thing, but it's enough of the thing that you know that it's the thing, and you're just like, it's just devastating. But I love it. It's like it's my favorite book every month, and it's also the book it's the last one on my pile.
I was going to say, do you read it first or you read it last? You read it last. Yeah.
And I have to be in an emotional state to read it. Right? Like it's not like I can just read it on a Tuesday. I got to read it when this is all in the right place. For the listeners, I'm pointing at my head when I say this. Audio medium. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brian, again, thanks for crashing in and taking over the joint. But thanks for all the hard work. Of course. Thanks for all. I mean, look, this is the kind of stuff we do all the time anyway, just without the video component. We text regularly. And sometimes about comics too.
It's true. It's a true story.
Yeah.
True story. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I've got another podcast to interrupt right now.
Wow. All right.
Doing right now. I should get a hold of it. Just going to dump into David Harbour. Hey, David, I know you're interviewing James Tynion IV right now, but why don't we talk about me?
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Bye.
Can you believe that guy?
Well, unbelievable. So now we got to do a whole hour-long podcast now because he just jumped in and ruined what we were going to do.
Oh, I wasn't recording any of that. I'm not giving him the bandwidth. Come on. I'm not giving him the bandwidth at all.
Not cool.
I legit did have notes for this episode, but my notebook is way back over there somewhere.
I guess that means we got to record a different podcast next week now off of those notes.
Oh, fine. I guess we can do that. Yeah, so there we go. We experimented with video, and it's weird to me how you're still all grainy and pixelated. So we'll see how this actually comes out. No, but I'm crystal clear on mine. Are you crystal clear on yours?
I'm crystal clear on mine. Yeah, and Brian was crystal clear on his.
No, but I mean Brian was crystal clear on mine as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Weird.
We'll see how this goes. Who knows? We may never do this again. Thanks for listening and or watching.
Yeah, and keep reading and managing comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.